All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the voice and the face of Dr. Olabintan, CEO and founder of Livingspring Family Medical Center right here in the city of Mansfield, Texas. I'm so excited to be here with you today as we talk about topics that improve your quality and quantity of life because we believe that it's important not just to live long, but to live well. So I'm excited to have the awesome Dr. Alicia Shelly with us today. Yay! Awesome, awesome. And I'm going to get right to it. Dr. Shelly, thank you so much for being here. Please kindly introduce yourself to our listeners. Who are you and what do you do?
Yes. Thank you so very much for having me here. I'm so excited to sit and talk to you about weight regain. So I am a board certified internal medicine, obesity medicine physician. I've been working in the field of primary care and obesity medicine for the last 8 years. I actually practice outside of Atlanta, in Douglasville, Georgia, in our Centers of Best Health. And then also I have a local, a podcast, not necessarily local, you get it anywhere, where we talk about back on track, overcoming weight regain. So that's our focus, so focusing on how not only do we have when people lose weight, but when we regain it, how to get back on track. Because we all know that with weight regain, it can be very overwhelming. It can be very discouraging. There's a lot of shame. And so I help people with being able to get back on track with their weight loss journey. Also, I am part of, I also hold different 5-minute health nuggets. And then also I do a online course. So I'm all about helping people with getting to their best self.
I like what you do, Doc, and I like your energy. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now people are wondering, like, well, Doc, how did you get here? Why do you do what you do? Kindly share with us.
Oh yeah. So it's so funny. When I was a little kid and I said, "Hey, I want to be a doctor," it was not to be a primary care obesity doctor, not at all. In fact, I think I wanted to be an obstetrician gynecologist. I wanted to deliver babies, but it's so funny how life changes and you change with it. All my life, I've struggled with weight as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, young adult. It's always been something I've had to focus on. Turns out genetically, our family just tends to be heavy set than others. And so one has to be very intentional about their lifestyle in order to kind of manage that. And so I've been up and down. During periods of stress, I've gained weight. During periods of overwhelm, I've gained weight. And so I've had to, during those times, change my mindset, change how I perceived what was going on to kind of focus, make myself a priority, number one, and then actually start to implement the healthy habits to be able to get my weight back down to a healthier weight. So, and with that, it inspired me to want to talk to others, not only learning for myself what's going on, but talk to others about what's going on with their bodies. Because a lot of times in the medical community, a lot of my patients just hear, oh, they need to just eat less and move more. And yes, those are actually very important, but there's so much more that goes on to gaining weight. It's not just the fact, oh, you're eating too much. A lot of times when what we found is that what causes people to gain weight is it could be genetic, like myself. It could be the certain medications you're on, like steroids. Sometimes even certain psychiatric medications can cause you to gain weight. Sometimes it can be as simple as a thyroid disorder that can cause you to have more issues. So there's multiple things that contribute to us gaining weight. And as a medical community, we need to, number one, be educated about it. But then number two, have that compassion when we see our patients. I think several times a month, I have a patient come in, we're talking about their blood pressure. I don't bring up their weight, but they bring it up. They're like, yeah, I know I need to lose weight. No one said anything about their weight. We're talking about changing healthy habits, changing changing your what you're eating, having less salt. You're the one that has that on your mind. So it's very interesting that we've kind of brainwashed people that to think this way. But we're trying to change that course. We're trying to have people to think more about what are their healthy habits they can implement so that they can have a better lifestyle.
And I like that, you chose to do what you do because you can relate to it. And so it makes you more, I think people who tend to listen more to you because you can relate to some of their struggles, some of their challenges. So that's big. Thank you for sharing that. So let's get right to it. What are your tips on preventing weight regain? You've already alluded to some of it before, but I want if you could give us like maybe 3 or 4 easy, actionable steps that we can take from this live. What are those tips?
Yeah. So I would say the first thing is once you get to your goal weight, you just can't stop. So number one, don't stop. Don't stop what you're
Don't
doing.
stop.
A lot of people, they feel good, they're exercising, they're eating right, and they're like, oh yeah, I got this. And then they take their head off the ball, or they take their mind off the ball. All right. It's Super Bowl weekend, everybody. So we're gonna have some football references. So I'm from Atlanta, so we will discuss, and it hurts my heart to say this, that in the Super Bowl, when we were playing Tom Brady's many moons ago, we were up halftime and we're feeling good, but between third quarter and fourth quarter we took our eyes off the ball, and Tom Brady came back and beat us for that Super Bowl. And so the same with our weight loss. Just because we're continuing to do what we're doing, we just can't stop. We have to keep going. There is a national registry that looked over at 10,000 people who have lost 30 pounds and maintained it. And the one thing they said is that people, number one, kept a food log. So if you're keeping a food log going, you need to write it down. And you may think, I don't have time to write it down. Yes, you do. You can use your phone. You can use MyFitnessPal. You can use Lose It. You can use Noom. You can use all these things. Or you can keep a book, whatever it is you want to do, but to write what you're eating down. Why is that important? Number one, it allows you to be mindful of what you're eating. You have to ask yourself, do I really need this cookie? Am I really, because I don't know about you, but my colleagues love me, and they love me so much that they bring in pizza. They bring in cookies because they said, you know what? I really appreciate what you do. And I want to show you the food. Doesn't that happen to you?
A lot.
It happens. And I appreciate it. And I say, thank you so much. But you know what? I need to eat this salad that I brought because I know if I eat these pizzas, it's a slippery slope for me. And I'm going to be like, well, I ate the pizza. Let me go on over here and go to Chipotle and get myself a burrito. It's just, for me, it's a temptation. And so when we write it down, we ask ourselves, do we really want to eat that pizza? And I say pizza because that was my temptation this week. Do we really want to eat that pizza? Or do we really want to eat this salad? Because number one, I have a goal. Not only am I trying to lose weight, I want to maintain the weight that I brought. And number two, if I do decide to eat that pizza, then guess what? I'm not going to Chipotle and get that burrito. I'm going to make sure I have my salad so I can balance it out. So it helps you to be able to have that balance and to have that flexibility when all of a sudden somebody does bring something you like. You may eat it, but it's not the end of the world. You don't have to have a cleansing of it. You just say, hey, look, I ate this for lunch. Well, for dinner, I'm going to eat something else that's a little bit lighter. So you balance it out. So it helps you to be mindful. So I know you told me 2 or 3, and I probably put a lot in there, but let's say number one, don't stop. Number two, keep being mindful. Write it down. Number 3, my last is to stay active, stay physically active. So they've done studies to look at how to prevent weight regain. And what they found is when people are exercising 250 to 300 minutes per week, they're able to maintain their exercise. So you can't, number one, don't stop. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, stay active.
Wow, those are powerful. Stay active. An object in motion likely is going to stay in motion.
Remains in motion. Yes.
It's proven time and time again. There's no way to excuse one out of it. And in fact, the older one gets, the more you need to stay active to remain active. So please, I know it sounds redundant. It sounds like we're hearing this over and over again, but please stay active, stay active, stay active. All right, next question. How about holiday times? I know that we just came over the Thanksgiving holiday and the Christmas holiday and the New Year, but even discussing like celebrating seasons in life, an anniversary or, a birthday party. And is it possible to avoid weight gain and still enjoy those seasons in life?
Yes, you really can. And I know people may be thinking, well, I didn't do it for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but and it's okay. The funny thing is, on average, people gain 5 to 10 pounds during the holidays. And a lot of times where I see where it's a problem is because we think of the holidays as this continuum. But technically, there's one meal for Thanksgiving and there's one meal for Christmas. But for some reason, in between there, we just give ourselves grace and be like, well, these holiday cookies are so good. These candy canes are so good. Oh, I need to have these snacks and for my kids and, my grandkids that are coming. We make all these allowances that allow us to kind of keep going. It's so funny. I had a patient just yesterday. And so she came in, she's like, look, doc, I lost 54 pounds in 6 months. And she was like, look, and she showed, and then we went through the chart. I'm like, yes, you did. Congratulations. And she's like, during holidays, I just had to let myself have those cookies. I just had to let it go. But interestingly enough, she continued her exercise and it balanced it out. So even though she didn't lose weight for the holidays, she didn't gain it either, or maybe 0.4.
That's big.
It's big. It's big. So you can still enjoy what you're eating, but you have to have that balance. And how do you have that? Number one, stay active. Stay active. The one thing my patient did was she was still active. She had implemented, what helped her lose weight was she implemented a walking strategy where she was walking. She didn't do anything fancy. She wasn't going to the gym. She wasn't pumping weights. All she was doing was she was walking and she was being consistent. All right, 2 other gems. Be consistent with your exercise program, whatever you decide. And the other thing, and how you be consistent, is you schedule it. You put it in your schedule. Stephen Covey once said that it's not enough for you just to prioritize your schedule, but schedule your priorities. So write it down, put it in the schedule. Coming back to my story. So she was active and she was exercising, and she would just do 5 days a week of walking, 30 minutes. Some days she would, when it was cold, she'd walk in the mall. Other days she would walk outside. She implemented an accountability partner where she brought her husband with her so they would walk together. So it was fun. And she made it where this is what she did. So during the now she established that so that during the holidays, this is what she did. So she kept active, even though she did eat her cookies, but she didn't eat the cookies like all at once. She didn't binge on it. What she did is she allowed herself 1 or 2 cookies every so often throughout the week. It literally took her the whole holiday to finish the 110, but it wasn't something she actually just binged on. So going back to the holidays, when we think about it, Thanksgiving, we're among our families, we're among our friends, and and now people eat a lot on Thanksgiving. Like they have multiple courses. You have macaroni.
You're thankful.
You're thankful. You're like, Lord, thank you for everything. And let me put everything that I know how to make on this table. So there's like tons and tons of food. Like it's not just you have one dessert. You have multiple desserts. You have pie. You have cakes. You have sweet potato pie. You have, all ice cream. You have all these things to choose from. But you don't have to eat it all, right? You don't have to eat it all. You can kind of focus on 1 or 2 things that you enjoy. And if it's like, oh, I really enjoy macaroni, you don't have to not have it. You just have a little bit of it, some tips during the holidays, what you can do is to kind of trick your mind is that instead of having the large plate they give you, get a smaller saucer plate and just kind of fill that up. When you're done, eat it. If you're still hungry, go for a second small saucer plate. If you're not hungry, take it for tomorrow. The other tip I'll give is exercise before you go, because if you're going to a big dinner, so do like a nice little, nice little walk. I don't know about you, but in the Atlanta area, we have our 5K and half marathon, and even 1 miler on Thanksgiving morning. And you get a little pie to treat yourself afterwards.
Wow. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And it's something so quick. It's before you get up. I mean, it's literally, we start at 7. I actually do the half marathon and it helps me because I'm not as hungry for lunch because I've been exercising that morning, and it gives you that guilt-free where you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm going into this dinner. It's going to be horrible. I'm going to eat too much. I'm going to get off my diet. The third thing I'll say is your mindset and how you approach it. If you approach the holidays with like, oh, this is going to be horrible, I'm going to gain weight, it's not going to work out, it's probably going to happen. But if you say to yourself, hey, look, yeah, I'm going to enjoy my family. I'm going to eat more veggies, have a little bit of the starches, have my protein, and just enjoy the experience. you'll find that this one meal is not going to make or break you. Why? Because then tomorrow you're going to get back on track. So those would be my tips on how to survive the holiday. Number one, have a better mindset. Number two, try a small dinner saucer versus a big plate. Number three, come with the make sure that you have more veggies than you do have the starches on there. And then number four, get back on track the next day. Exercise. You can exercise beforehand and not let that be the end or to make or break you.
I like the exercise before. I haven't thought that. That's a very good idea. I like that. Now, next question. How do you encourage patients in their relationship with their scales?
Yeah. So sometimes that scale could be the end of all, could be just this nemesis that you're trying to fight. And so I know for me and my scale, I actually weigh myself once a week on Sundays, and I weigh myself all in the nude, bare. And I literally get on the scale. I don't trust it. I get on it 3 times and take the average of the 3. Like, I don't know if this is right. And
Liar!
I know. And sometimes it is. It makes me a liar. Like the first time I get on, I'm like, wow, I weighed that much. Let me try it again. And then it's a little bit smaller. And then I'm like, okay, we need one more just to balance it out. So you don't necessarily have to go through that detail. But what I say is there's so much more to weight loss than just the fact of how much you weigh. In fact, and I always recommend looking at your outcomes more than just the number on the scale. You can actually look at how you feel, the energy that you have, where you are. You can also measure yourself as far as, taking your measurements once a month to see the change. And actually, that's one way how to stay motivated, because you're seeing a change. A lot of times when I talk to my patients, they'll tell me like, oh, I just kind of lose motivation. And I ask them, what's the biggest thing that causes you to lose motivation? And they say, I don't see the scale moving. And a lot of times you may not see the scale moving. In our minds, we want to lose like 5 to 10 pounds every week. But in actuality, we may lose a couple of pounds the first week. We may go up the next week a little bit, 1 pound, but then we lose 3 or 4 pounds the next week. So it's not as linear as we would like it. It's kind of choppy. And that's okay, as long as when we look at the full graph, we're still going downwards. I remember when I was in medical school, there was this lady who we would work out at Bally's, and she was so intense. She probably was about 300 pounds, but she had like the whole, that suit that makes you sweat on, and she would get on the treadmill and she was just walking. And one day we were by each other and we were just chatting, and she mentioned to me that she was getting discouraged with her weight loss journey, because although she'd been so consistent, showing up every day, 5 days out the week at the gym, she wasn't seeing the scale move. And then I asked her, I'm like, well, have you noticed it in other areas? She's like, people have come up to me and told me that they've noticed that I've lost weight. My clothes feel a lot looser. I see my inches going down, but the scale is not moving. And I was like, well, sometimes because you are moving more, it could be that you're actually increasing your muscle mass, which weighs more than fat. So you may see it as far as in your clothes getting smaller. The inches are coming off. People are noticing that something's different about you, but you may not see that scale move. So when I talk to my patients, don't let that scale be the only thing that tells you that you're doing a good job. Look at other outcomes like your clothes, how people are perceiving you, looking at your face, taking a before picture and kind of taking a picture every month to see the change. Because you're with your body all the time, you don't notice the change. You don't notice that you're losing weight.
I like that.
Yeah, so take pictures, celebrate. And one other thing I would say to stay motivated with your weight loss, have non-eating rewards. So having outcomes like, hey, I got into this new dress. Let me go get a massage. So have ways to reward yourself and congratulate yourself on a job well done, because every single pound counts, every single inch counts. So we all celebrate the wins.
I love that. Reward yourself with non-food items for a job well done. Give yourself like a high five. You know what I'm saying? Like, high five in different ways. A massage, go out to the movies. Don't eat too much popcorn. Different ways to reward yourself and celebrate those wins. A lot of these things sound like, celebrating wins used to sound like, oh yeah, sure, you're supposed to do that. But it's amazing how much you energize yourself and you rewire your brain to help you in your weight loss goals when you do that.
Yes, yes.
Got to celebrate your wins, Doc. Thank you so
It's
much.
so important because it's all about that mindset. And sometimes we're our worst critics. We
Mhm.
beat ourselves up. We tell us these negative thoughts that we're never going to do this. We're not going to lose weight, or we're going to gain it back. When actuality, we got to give ourselves some self-compassion. We have to show self-compassion and encourage ourselves. Mhm.
I like that. So you already started answering the next questions. What
Okay.
mindsets have helped you on your health and weight journey? So you said self-compassion is one, learning to be gracious to yourself. But what other mindsets have helped you
Yeah.
in your weight loss journey?
So I have power thoughts. And power thoughts are basically sayings, affirmations that help us when times get rough. I'm going to be honest with you. And I didn't mention this, but I'm currently training for an Ironman, which it consists, for those who are not familiar, it's a triathlon. So it consists of a swimming portion, a bicycling portion, and a running portion.
Wow.
I've done a super sprint triathlon this summer. So I've never done anything like this before. And so
Wow.
it's taking me out of my comfort zone. And the one thing I realized is that I do not particularly care for swimming, especially in a pool. And the reason being is that I get bored.
Where else would you swim?
Well, sometimes we can swim in a lake. If you're by the ocean, you can swim in the ocean. But I have some phobias about ocean swimming. So I don't have an ocean near me, so it doesn't happen. But I've swam in a lake, and my phobias were a little bit better because I'm like, nothing's gonna get me. I'm not gonna see a crocodile or anything, so we're good. But but
Oh my gosh.
during the winter though, it's pool swimming, so you're going back and forth, and I get bored. I'm like, my mind is going. I'm like, when is this over? How can I get here? And so because I don't particularly care for it, it takes all the power thoughts in me to get me to that pool.
Wow.
I have to tell myself, girl, you can do hard things. You got this. I have to look at what my vision is, which is crossing the Ironman. Now, I'm not trying to beat any records with this Ironman. I just need to cross the finish before time expires. That's my goal. So I think they're giving us 16 hours. If I'm 15 hours and 59 seconds, that's my goal. We're just trying to finish. So how I overcome my mindset is, number one, I use these power thoughts. So the number one power thought that I tell myself is, you can do hard things. And when it comes to the swimming, I'm like, you can do hard things, get in this pool and go swim. Next thing I tell myself is, you can do this, you got this. And I'll tell myself over and over and over again, because sometimes the first time I don't listen. And then secondly, I have a vision. I have my vision board where I can, on my phone. So, in the middle is Ironman finish. And so I see that. So having a vision, having your mindset, and then also having people keep you accountable. I have a coach. I have a swim coach. I have an Ironman coach. I have a swim coach, and I have a personal trainer. It's a lot, but I need help. And so you don't have to have all this. You may just have like a buddy or a friend that helps you stay accountable, and that texts you to say, how did your week go? And you tell them how it went. But for me, for this particular journey, because I've never done it, I've kind of been a little overboard with it, but they help me stay accountable. They're like, did you go swimming today? I don't see it. So it looks like you need 3 days of swimming. How do you plan to get that? And these small questions that actually seem like it's just enough to kind of get me to feel guilty to go and get my butt in that pool. So, having that accountability partner works. So the three things I'll say is using power thoughts, having a vision, and having an accountability partner.
I love it. Have a vision, and have people encourage you in your journey to reaching your goals. That's big. If you don't set them, you're not going to reach them. Okay.
Yes,
really
exactly. You got to set your goals. Set the goals.
Yes. Awesome. Now, what if when you fall off the regimen, or you just like, no, I don't feel like doing this. How do you reset?
It happens. Life happens. You may get sick. You may have a family member get sick that you have to kind of drop everything and go tend to them. You may have a work project that's just taking all of your free time, and you just don't have the time to implement your healthy habits. It's okay. Number one, I would say, don't beat yourself up. So I'm going to tell you this other story. I have this patient. She has lost over 50 pounds in 6 months. And when she had lost 30 pounds, I'm like, wow, we didn't do it with medication. We just focused on our healthy habits. I asked her, what's the one thing that helped you to lose weight? And she said, Doc, I forgave myself. And that's huge. Let me stop for a
Wow.
second. I forgave myself because for her, it had to be all or nothing, where it's like, I have to do everything right or nothing at all. We're human. We're going to have life events that come in. We're going to have things that take our attention. And it's okay if for some reason we're off that day. We just have to get back on. We have to not beat ourselves up and just kind of, we have to give ourselves grace so that we can just continue and get back on our track with these healthy habits. I'm going to be honest with you. This week has been a World week for me. And even though I still exercise, I didn't exercise in the same capacity that I normally do. And so I feel guilty about it. I'm like, oh, you're not showing up. But guess what? I had a huge project that I had this week that I had to finish. But you know what? Tomorrow we're getting started. We're getting back on track with swimming. We're getting back on track with running. Even today I was going to go to the pool, but I didn't beat myself up to the point where I just stopped. So a lot of times when we fall off, we beat ourselves up where we just stop and put our hands up and just say, we're not doing anything. But don't do that. Don't do that at all. Number one, give yourself grace. Remind yourself you're a human. Go back to what your power thoughts are. Go back to what your vision is and get back on track. That's how I recommend people to at least start.
I love that. And I love your energy. I love your energy. Well, you fall down, you dust yourself, you get up, you start again. Just start again. Forgive yourself. Be gracious to yourself. Go back and look at your vision. And let that motivate you, let that encourage you, and then go back to your power thoughts that help reshape how you see things. Okay, very, 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 very important. I hope people are. I know a lot of people are going to be blessed by this, so I'm glad that you came on. I'm really appreciative of what you do. I love what you do, and good luck with the Ironman feat. Let us know. I would love to be able to share with our viewers that you did it, and let that also encourage them in their own weight and healthy habit or exercise goals for this year. Okay, I think you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming. Now, for those who are watching, who watch this live, who watch this through replay, who are like, wait, that doc, I really want to kind of work with her. I want to have her come be a speaker. I want to see what she's about and see how I can work with her. Where can people find you?
Yes. So I am on Instagram, Facebook. My handle is Dr. Shelly, MD. Feel free to find me there. Also, I'm going to be having at February 15th, we're going to be starting our Thrive for Life online course program, where it's an 8-week group coaching program where we help you transform. We help you get back on track. And so you can just go to thriveforlifeprogram.com. thriveforlifeprogram.com. And then if you're not necessarily ready for a full 8-week program, guess what? I have something for you. In March, we're going to be starting our Kickstart Challenge. So feel free to follow me on Instagram, Dr. Shelly MD. You'll get more information about the upcoming events. And I look forward to working with you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Shelly. I appreciate you coming. And what I'm going to do is after the live, I will post information on how people can reach out to you on YouTube as well as on the Facebook group and tag you as well. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. My pleasure. Thank you all for watching. Those who are watching this replay or live, thank you for coming. I appreciate you stopping by this Saturday morning, depending on when you watch this or replay. Now, if you or anyone you know is looking for a family physician that's passionate, that's thorough, and that's caring here in the Mansfield, Texas area, I am she. Thank you for joining and have a good one. Bye.